going on, world? It's your favorite author, Maurice, and I am here to review the show. Welcome to Derry. Okay, so let's just jump right into it, because if you've seen it, you know we have a lot to get into today. All right, so we start off with the words trouble, 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 trouble. Being said repeatedly. We don't know really what's going on until they show us that it is the movie The Music Man going on. Now, I've never seen the movie The Music Man. Doesn't look like a movie I would actually want to see, but that's what's going on. He's giving a speech telling them that the kids are in trouble. Foreshadowing. We pan back. We are in a movie theater, okay? It's a regular movie theater from back in the day. You could tell it's very, very far back in the day. It's not too much going on there. Not a lot of people, but there are some. There's teenagers in there being nasty. There's the old lady hating on the teenagers. There's a few people. And then we run into this one little boy sitting there with a red coat and a yellow pacifier, all right? His name is Maddie. I will just be naming everybody because ain't nobody got time to name him the way they did in the show, all right? So, Maddie. Maddie's in there, main character for a first person we're meeting. We see Maddie, he's watching the movie, minding his business, sucking on his pacifier real loud, and the old lady in front of him is not having it. She's like shushes him and everything. Then out of nowhere comes a flashing light on him. It's a security guard. Security guard tells him, hey, yo, you got to get up out of here. So we don't really know why, but he's telling him, yo, you got to get up out of here. It might be, whatever it is. So Maddie gets up and runs. He runs out the lobby, and as he runs into the lobby, we see a black girl behind the register. Her name is Veronica, okay, a.k.a. Ronnie. So we see Ronnie there behind the register, and Maddie runs and hides. He hides in a place that Ronnie can literally still see him, but when the security guard comes out, he can't. So it's a little bit weird at the moment. He's like looking for him, and then this black guy comes in. The guy comes in, and the security guard's like, hey, I saw that kid here again. I got to find him. And the guy's like, hey, yo, relax. Like, it's just a kid. It's not that deep. Calm down. Buddy is like, nah, you ain't gonna make no money here in this theater if you keep letting people come in here for free. So we hear that the movie theater owner has a good heart, but also he owns this theater and he may not be making money in it because of that, because he has such a good heart. The guy turns over to Ronnie, and it's apparently this is Ronnie's dad. He asks Ronnie, he says, hey, have you seen a kid run by here? Now, mind you, she can see Ronnie. Ronnie can see Maddie. Ronnie's looking right at Maddie. She's seeing him. And she says, yeah, and then points in the opposite direction of where he's at and said he went that way. The security guard runs after him. The guy can kind of tell his daughter just lied or whatever. They leave out, go through Maddie's happy. He's sigh of relief. Ronnie and the guy and her father leave out for a second. Maddie, instead of just leaving the movie theater, walks around the lobby a little bit and looks around, only for the security guard to come back out and say, hey, and run after him. Maddie runs out. He hits the light feet. And the security guard says, if you come back in here, I'm calling the police. Maddie's like 12 or 13, but people take their job way too serious sometimes. Either way, now we see Maddie's outside in Maine, because Derry is in Maine. He is in Maine at night, and it is snowing. And it does not look like this is the first time it snowed. It looks like this might be the second or third night of snow. He is on the side of the road hitchhiking. Now we see him walking away from the Derry sign, welcome to Derry sign, and he's trying to get a car, but the first one ignores him. Second car actually stops for him. It's a family inside, a mom, a dad, an older sister, younger brother. The nuclear American family, the blonde, the dad who's probably an accountant, all the things. So they ask Maddie, they say, Maddie, where are you going? And he says, anywhere but Derry. Fine. They tell him, we're going to Portland. So I don't know if you know, but Portland and Maine are nowhere near each other. Okay, they are not neighbors by any means of the stretch. They are far away. So he's about to get in the car with these strangers for days. Gets in the car with them, no stranger danger, sits next to the sister, and they are all in the back seat. Now, while the parents are driving, they're not really asking him too much about himself, which is weird. But either way, you hear the car radio, and the radio is trying to warn people. The radio is talking about mutations and radiation and all this kind of stuff. And then one of them asks to change the station. It's not Maddie, though. Maddie's very quiet. Maybe the daughter or the son, one of them say change the station. They change the station, and then the son, he's younger, he starts spelling a word. And the mom is like, oh, yeah, that's what he loves. He loves to spell words. So my initial thought is he better not do that shit all the way to Portland, because Portland's a long drive. But that's neither here nor there. While he's spelling words and just being weird, the daughter goes and pulls out a Tupperware. On the Tupperware says liver. She opens it up. It's liver. but you can hear the flies, which lets us know this is raw. She puts her fingers inside of the raw liver, leaving blood all over her fingers, and she goes ahead and puts her fingers in Maddie's face. Now, that was very suggestive for kids, and I didn't like that because, Steven, you know what you be doing. You know what you did at the end of the book, but that's neither here nor there. They see her parents see her do it, and her dad is like, hey, behave yourself. Real, jovial and joking wise. The mom is like, that's my little harlot. They calling her 304 in the back seat. And she's like, the dad is like, be a good girl. And she's like, I am a good girl. And then she looks at Matt and says, until I'm not. And that was real suggestive. And that's when they started, calling her a harlot and a 304 and laughing and joking, like what she said was funny. Next thing you know, the boy is still spelling words. I want to be very clear. He has been spelling words this entire time. He is on the side spelling more words. And now the mom is giving him weirder words to spell. Strangulation, necrophilia. He is spelling some words he has no business spelling, and each word is getting darker than the last. And then Maddie sees it, and Maddie sees the Derry sign. They are driving back into Derry. Remember, when they found him, he was walking away from it. Now, somehow, some way, they are driving back to the place he just tried to leave. All right? So from there, he's like, let me out. He tries to open the car door. He can't get it open. They got the child lock proof on there. And now everybody in the car is spelling out. O-U-T, O-U-T. Over and over and over. And Maddie is now losing it because he's going back to Derry. He doesn't want to be there. This family has him. They're holding him hostage. They won't let him out. So Maddie does what any logical person would do. He jumped for that steering wheel, baby. He ran over and said, nah, but just kill us all. And tried to grab it. He grabbed the steering wheel, tried to flip it, tried to turn it, rip it and reverse it. He ends up hitting the mom in his stomach. Now, this is where we find out the mom is pregnant. She is a pregnant mom, and Maddie just, boom, hit her right in her stomach. So immediately she starts moaning, going into labor. She is going into it, but here's what's happening. Now the family is screaming, O-U-T, O-U-T, as she's trying to give birth or about to give birth. Now, I ain't giving her no passes because she was just as weird as the rest of them 5 seconds ago. But now she's giving birth. The family screaming O-U-T. It is a madhouse in there. And then she finally, in the middle of the car, gives birth. Now, when she pushes out, it's just this little blood bag or whatever. You see something pops out, but it's clearly not a baby. Like, no one's crying, none of that. So then it's just dark in her seat, in the front seat. You can't see the baby. You can't see anything. Then, out of nowhere, boom, the monster pops out. It is a monster with a baby head, an absorbed twin head, wings, and a weird little body with an umbilical cord and sharp teeth, I'm going to assume. It starts flying around the car. Everybody's freaking out. They freaking out like they wasn't just doing the O-U-T thing. So everybody's freaking out. It is what it is. Maddie's freaking out. He's trying to get out the car. He cannot get out the car. The little monster flies in the trunk and then stays there for a second. Everybody's quiet, just waiting to see what's going to happen when the monster jumps out. And then it jumps at them and it's flying around the car. It's not really harming anybody just yet. It's just flying around the car, causing commotion. And then everybody stops and looks at Maddie. Once they look at Maddie, the baby stops and looks at Maddie. Now, mind you, this is a little baby demon. It looks at him. Maddie is up against the window trying to, he's like, please, God, just let me out this car. And then, boom, we don't see what happens in the car. We just see the car glass break and then a pacifier go flying all the way down into a canal. And that was the beginning of Welcome to Derry. All right, so the next part, after we lost Maddie, it is now 4 months later from that. We're 4 months later, and we are in the year 1962. So let's keep all of that in mind and everything that's going to happen in this section. So we see a young boy. His name is Phil. He's watching planes come into the military base, and then we go over to that military base. We're on the military base, and we see a black man and a white man. Black man's name is Leroy Hanlon. White man's name is Paulie Russo. Paulie and Leroy. Now, Leroy Hanlon is a Easter egg because that lets you know he is related to Mike Hanlon, who is in the movies. That's neither here nor there. So they're on a military base, and you can tell they're high ranking because not only their uniform, but they are being escorted around the military base at this point in time. Now, I don't know. I've never been in the military, but I just don't think they do that for everybody. So that's what it was. The guy escorting them tells them about Derry. He leaves little innuendos. You kind of got to watch that part to see what it's all about, because I wasn't taking notes on everything that was said. But there are some points that they do explain things that go on in Derry and what both Leroy and Paulie are doing there. All right? Skip past that. Now we're back at the school. We're at the school, and this time we're meeting a girl. Her name is Lily. She has to be about 12 or 13 also. She's walking through the school hallways, and everybody is looking at Lily, okay? Some people are looking in concern. Some people are snickering. Some people are looking a little bit scared. Everybody's just looking at her as she's walking through the hallway. Now, she is ignoring this, but she sees every bit of it. It's almost dazing how much everybody is looking at her. It's causing her to just say, okay, whatever, and keep it pushing. She goes to her locker, opens up her locker, and then a jar of pickles falls out. So you like, okay, what's going on here? And then you look at her locker, and it's like 6 jars of pickles in there. And it's like, oh, so this is a thing. Like, she starts getting upset. You could tell she didn't do this. You could tell people are laughing. Someone set this up, and they keep doing it to her. That is when her best friend comes over. I don't care about that little girl name because I don't like her right now. So the best friend comes over with the glasses. Yes, that do make her eyes look big since she's so mean. She comes over. She consoles Lily. She's holding it down. She's a good best friend at this moment in time when we see her. They're talking about girl stuff, and then we skip over, and we are now with Phil, the boy that was watching the planes earlier, and Teddy. Now, Phil and Teddy are like, you can see their opposites in how they look. Phil is tall, Teddy's short. Phil has straight black hair, Teddy has curly red hair. Curly red hair signifying, letting us know Teddy's Jewish, okay? So while they're there, they're talking. Phil is giving conspiracy theories on why he thinks the military planes are here. Teddy is kind of just ignoring him, going on about his day. Like, not really ignoring him, but just like, okay, I guess if you say so. We get to Teddy's locker with Phil, and then that's where we see that Teddy gets bullied also. Because Teddy has a picture of himself on the locker, unalived, okay? There also is a sign that says Teddy sucks on there. So we know that people don't really respect Teddy. Again, he's shorter than Phil, so we can kind of see that they have the, yin and yang thing going on there between them, all right? From there, we end up back on that military base because this is fun. This is fun. Get back to the naval base, and this is where we see that the ism of the race is still alive well today. Obviously, it's 1962, so that's what's going on. All right, 1962, Leroy and Paulie, they walk in, and they're being introduced into soldiers, people who are lower ranked than them. Everybody salutes Paulie. Everybody salutes Leroy except for one soldier with the last name Masters, ironically enough. So Leroy pulls up on him like, hey, yo, you good, bro? Like, what you want? Like, and Masters is like, I got you next time, bro. Real disrespectful. Mind you, everybody else was sir, lieutenant, all of that. When he get to Leroy, Masters is real. Yeah, boy, I'll talk to you later. That's the energy I got from brother. So then that's when the real general pull up. And he like, hey, yo, is it a problem over here, bro? Like, what's up with you, Masters? Like, what is the procedure, as they say, and set it off? But it was like, he checked him. Masters figured it out. He saluted Leroy. And that is where we learn that, okay, even though Leroy is here, he's high ranking, it is the sign of the times, and this is what it's going to be, all right? They start talking, and it's a lot of expository stuff that I told you I ain't really going through. All right, so then we pan back to Teddy and Phil. Remember, Phil is our tall guy. Teddy's the shorter one, all right? Phil is being a creep, looking at his neighbor as she changes her bra. Teddy is over there drawing or writing, whatever he's doing. They're having two totally separate conversations about different things with each other, by the way. After Phil is done being a creep, okay, Teddy brings up that it's been 4 months that since Maddie passed away. And he's worried. Like, he thinks that he might not be missing. I mean, he might not be gone. Teddy thinks that Maddie might be missing instead of gone. This is when we learn that Teddy kind of blames himself because Maddie was having a birthday party for it months ago. That Maddie's mother, okay, she bribed Phil and Teddy to go. She bribed them with candy to make sure that they showed up at her son's birthday party. And neither Phil nor Teddy pulled up to the birthday party. Now, Teddy blames himself. He feels like because they didn't go to that birthday party, this is why Maddie is missing or gone or missing. Phil Phil's like, that's not their business. It was candy. It's not that serious. Whatever he did, that's on him. But you can kind of tell there's a ping of guilt there because he's so easily ready to just pin it off on somebody else. That's not our business. That's not our fault. We didn't have nothing to do with that, okay? Again, Teddy believes that Maddie might just be missing. He doesn't think that, that's the situation there. So they both have a bit of an argument about it because Phil is telling Teddy, stop blaming yourself. Teddy's telling Phil, get real. Teddy walks out the room. Phil basically lets it be known that Maddie is dead, so you need to stop thinking that he's missing. Then we pan to Lily. Lily is now, how far are we? Okay, we got time. Yeah, we pan to Lily. Lily is now in her bathroom. She is sitting on a tub. Lily's the girl from the school earlier. Don't forget. So she's in the she's not in the tub, but she's sitting on the tub, and that is when she gets a knock at the. Oh no! Excuse me. No, that is when she looks at her charm bracelet and she sees a turtle. Now, if you know Stephen King stories or the It story, you know what turtles mean. Shout out to that. You'll learn. So yeah, she looks at the turtle. She reminisces. Maddie, this is back when Maddie was alive. She knew Maddie. Maddie took her to a secret space. This is where when I say secret base, this is where they're going to be going every time. So Maddie takes her to their secret base that he has, and this is where he's up there with her. It's dark time, not dark, it's nighttime, and they're up there together just talking. He asks her about her dad. Now, apparently, this is a big thing because no one has asked her about her dad or no one lets her talk about it. So she immediately gets all like, and then Maddie's like, yo, you ain't got to do it if you ain't ready. And she's like, no, I'm ready. And then she tells him that basically her dad worked in a plant or something like that. He worked somewhere. And whatever happened, I'm going to brief it up. Long story short, she left a toy inside. Her dad went back to get the toy. The plant or wherever he worked at exploded. He died. Long story short, that's what happened. She blames herself for her dad's death. That's how she breaks it down. She has a moment. Her and Maddie talk, and Maddie says, I'm sorry that I made you talk about that. And she's like, nah, it's all good. Like, people don't ever ask about it. People never let me talk about it. So it is what it is. I'm glad you said something. Fireworks start, and then we learn, oh, it's New Year's time. Like, it's New Year's Eve. They're having a day together. They're at this spot. They're watching the fireworks. It's all romantic. And my son, Maddie, decides to go in for a kiss. Lily hit him with the Tyler. She was like, oh, but we friends though. Like, what happened there? What you doing? And I guess that was Maddie's final straw. He had enough. And it wasn't so much, he apologizes. He's not a weirdo like, oh, you should have kissed me. He is extremely apologetic about it, tells her he shouldn't have did it, but he's so embarrassed he can't sit in it. So he has to walk away. He leaves. She calls out to him, Maddie. He leaves, and then she never sees Maddie again. That's the end of it. Now, during that night, he gave her the turtle charm bracelet. That's how she remembered it. Yeah, we'll go back to that. Either way, we get back to the bathroom. She's sitting on the tub, and her mom knocks on the door. Her mom opens the door and she says, yeah, we're going to your father's cemetery tomorrow. Don't forget. So Lily basically tells her mom, like, look, I'm not trying to go to the cemetery to see my dad. Her mom, who's not really too sympathetic, is like, hey, yo, it's been over a year and you haven't gone once. You have to stop acting like you're the only person that anything bad has ever happened to in this life. And then At tells her, oh, yeah, and make sure you take your medication. Now, it wasn't just like that, but that's how I heard it. It was like, yeah, and take your medication. Now, we all know this is the 60s. This is 62. So it ain't really that easy to get on medication for mental things back in the day. And the medicine they do have, all right, so let's just move past that. Anyway, she's sitting by her tub, and then she hears the words, trouble, 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 and she hears noises coming from her bathtub drain. This is where we hear the movie The Music Man is playing. And she's freaking out a little bit. And she's like, what's going on? Then she hears Maddie's voice. And she screams out to him. She's like, Maddie, come back. We're here. I'll help you. Come. And Maddie's fingers appear through the tub drain, bloodied. And he says, I can't. He won't let me. And she screams for dear life. And that is the end of that scene right there. So after she screams, she has the moment, she sees it, we go right to the school. So we don't really stay on that moment too long. It pans over to the school, and we see Lily talking to her best friend about what just happened to her in the tub. Now, her best friend is repeating it as if, you hear yourself right now, girl? You hear what you're saying? Basically, she don't believe her, real skeptical. All right. Now the best friend basically is like trying to get Lily to like, yo, let's move past this. But Lily is adamant. This is what she experienced. They end up seeing a popular girl in the hallway, and I guess that's her best. Like the popular girl speaks to Lily's best friend, doesn't really speak to Lily. So from there, Lily's best friend pulls her in the bathroom. It's mad girls in there or whatever, but then they go in a stall for privacy because stalls are soundproof. So they go in there, and her best friend, Lily's best friend, is like, yo, I need you to stop saying stuff like this. All right? Basically, that conversation is her Lily's best friend saying, I'm already riding for you in the weird shit that you got going on. I can't even handle you adding anything else onto that. So let's just be normal. Let's not talk about stuff like that. And Lily learns that her best friend is basically embarrassed by her. She's always fighting, even though her best friend is fighting for her name, fighting for Lily's name, she still is embarrassed by her. And she doesn't want to be any more embarrassed. Lily feels hurt, so Lily leaves. Next scene, we see Teddy and Phil. They are riding their bikes, and you see they're about to go meet up with someone. They're talking about male nipples. It's an interesting conversation. They get over there, and they see Lily. And when they see Lily, they start talking about why she called them over there. Phil brings up, do you think it's about her dad? Because they say her dad was chopped into pieces and found in pickle jars all over Derry. That is why they are putting pickle jars in her locker, to make fun of her for the fact that her dad may have been chopped up into pieces and put into pickle jars. And I say may have because Teddy says that's not true. That did not happen. That's not a real story. But Phil, who is always adamant about what's going on, believes it. And that's just what it is for him. All right, so after that, they meet up with Lily. They don't mention these things in front of her, mind you. They meet up with Lily, and Lily takes them to the secret spot that Maddie took her. All right? Maddie told Lily that him, Phil, and Teddy usually come up here together. And don't tell them that, this is what Maddie told her in that scene. He said, don't tell them I brought you up here. That's important. Now, when they go up there, Lily tells Phil and Teddy what happened. And the reason she's telling them is because now we learn she believes that Teddy and Phil are Maddie's best friends. Come to find out from Phil and Teddy, that's not the case. Teddy tries to keep it light. He like, yo, it's complicated. But Phil is basically like, nah, that's really not what happened. Now, Phil doesn't want to hear her out. He doesn't want to hear anything that Lily has to say about Maddie because to me, he has that guilt and he doesn't want to deal with anything Maddie related. Teddy feels the guilt and handles it differently. Because Teddy feels that guilt, he is like adamant in listening to what Lily has to say, all right? So in the end, she tells them everything that happened. She tells them what was done, and Phil doesn't believe her. Phil is like, I don't know what you're talking about. Teddy tries to make it make sense, but it just doesn't, and he ends up not believing her either. He tells her it just doesn't make any sense what you're saying. From there, Lily is now feeling alone because no one believes her, and she leaves out, she runs, and she leaves all by herself. After Lily leaves, then we pan back to the military base. So now we are with Leroy Hanlon, the man in the military, and we are with him and the general. So the main guy earlier who checked masters. So the general is basically talking to him about, they basically tell their past, okay? Leroy was in Korea, the Korean War, and he's all down with the war and all that kind of stuff. The general asks him to fly this B-52 plane that they have. It's new, to finish the job. You got to watch that part on its own because it's a bunch of explaining, and I'm not doing that. The scene just wasn't fun to break down. So, yeah, you watch the scene, you'll see they're talking about military stuff. All right. Now, we go back to Teddy's house. Okay, we go back to Teddy's house, and he's sitting across from his mom, his dad, and his big brother. All right, he's at the table. It's very, it's very nice. They're about to eat dinner. A lot of bread, but that's neither here nor there. Teddy is getting ready for his bar mitzvah. His father mentions it, and they ask him about it. And then Teddy asks his father. He says, "Dad, can I ask you a weird question?" Now, his mom and brother are looking at him, and his dad is just kind of like, okay, go ahead. What's up? Like, what's the problem? And Teddy asks his father at the dinner table, he says, can a kid be kidnapped, okay, put into the sewers, held down there, and be hurt constantly, over and over and over. Basically asking, is what Lily told him true? His mother and brother immediately look annoyed or just like concerned. His brother looks annoyed. His mother looks concerned. Like, what is he asking this for? His father tells him basically Jewish history about how Jewish people have been through a lot of different things in their past. And he mentions their grandparents and how they went through things. He says, this is real. He looks down and sees Teddy's comic book and says, what happened to your family, what happened to our people is real. This stuff you're mentioning is made up. And then pulls the comic book and tells him to stop focusing on fantasy things and focus on what's real in this world type stuff. Copy. Cool. That's what happens there. He tells Teddy, he says how Jewish people were turned into lampshades back then. Their skin from that evil time period where things were happening. So we're not going to get into the history of that, but that's what he tells them, that they were lampshades. So when Teddy is up in his room later, we pan back to him in his bedroom. He's reading a comic book. His light goes out. He turns it back on. He's reading the comic book again. The light goes out again. He turns it right back on. The light goes out a third time. This time when he turns it back on, the lamp shade is now the skin of people. So he immediately knocks the lamp over, screams, jumps on the ground, hides under his desk because that was smart. And then the lamp ends up rolling towards him. And you can see faces of people on the lampshade. And then one of the faces starts screaming. And he's screaming. And they're screaming together. And then the light goes out. The lamp disappears. And it's like as if nothing just happened. His older brother comes, opens the door, and says, I don't know how we're related. Totally ignoring the screaming, the yells, all that stuff. Just basically comes at his little brother and goes from there. So after we leave that moment, now we understand that both Teddy and Lily have had experiences with this entity that's going on. Okay? So then we pan to this back to the secret spot. Teddy is up there toe up. Teddy is throwing up. Teddy's eyes look like he hasn't slept in days. And now Phil actually believes it because Teddy said it. When Lily said it, it was one thing. He don't really know Lily like that, and she got a pass. So wasn't nobody trying to hear her out. But when he sees Teddy, Teddy looks horrible. And he says, I know Teddy. So if Teddy is saying this, it has to be real because he would never do nothing like this type stuff, okay? So they are in there, and now that they are all under one accord, all right, she tells them, they can't tell anybody about this. This is where Lily says that Teddy and Phil can't tell anybody about what happened because they're going to send her to, I believe it was St. Juniper or something like that, to where she was at. They're going to send her back and then going to send them. So this is where we learn that Lily was in a mental facility. I mean, we should have knew because she's taking medication in the 60s, but this is where we learn, and she's a girl, but this is where we learn that she has been in a medical facility, and this is why people treat her the way that they do. This is why her best friend has been riding for her, because she was in a medical facility, and while she was there, people were talking trash, and her friend was holding it down, allegedly. Okay, so Lily tells Phil and Teddy, she's like, yo, I think I know where we can go to learn more information. And this is a place you can still go today to learn information, okay? It's none other than the library, okay? The local library. All the answers are in the local library, guys. You just got to go to them, all right? So they decide to go to the library. They go to the library to find out more information on Maddie's passing. Now, while we're here is where we see Phil's little sister, Susie. She's younger than them, so if they're 12, 13, she's got to be about 9, 8. She's a little thing, but you know, she's there. She's talking a hole in their head, and this is just where we get to meet little Susie, Phil's sister. While there, they end up finding information on Maddie's passing, or the missing of Maddie. Anyway, they read the article, they find an article that basically tells them that the last place he was seen was the movie theater, and the last person to see him was Ronnie. Okay, Veronica. So the kids decide immediately, oh, we got to go find Ronnie. They go to Ronnie's house, which is in the hood. for some reason. No one else had a house like Ronnie. Ronnie clearly lived in an apartment where everybody else lived in nice houses. But that's neither here nor there. We're going to get into that another time. We're just going to move past that, all right? So anyway, Ronnie was there. They pull up on Ronnie, and when they mention Maddie, Ronnie is not with nothing. Ronnie is immediately annoyed and upset. And she tells them, basically, the cops have been up here all through, ever since Maddie got taken or killed, and they are trying to pin it on her father. Okay, so she actually wants nothing to do with this, and she doesn't trust any of them because she doesn't believe that they have her best interest at heart. She believes they might be doing something to, attack or cause her father to end up being blamed for this. It's Phil, Teddy, Lily, and Susie. The four of them start walking away after Ronnie basically says, "Get away from here." As they're walking away, Phil is like, "See, I told y'all that was weird talking about you hear music in the drains." When Ronnie hears them say music in the drains, then her face changes. And then she calls them back over. And she's like, "Hey, yo, what song is playing when you hear it?" And they tell her. And then she starts mentioning how she hears kids in the drain at the movie theater. She doesn't hear them at home, but she hears them at the movie theater. She hears them saying her name, she hears them crying, she hears them screaming out for her, all the different things. And she hears the song. Now she chooses to ignore it. In this world of Derry, a lot of time, well, most times, majority 95, the adults are not going to handle anything that you think needs to be done. So I'm assuming she told her parent nobody listened, but that's neither here nor there. That's my assumption. But either way, she believes them now because they have all heard the same song. Everybody but Phil and Susie. But Teddy, Lily, and Ronnie have all heard the same songs coming out of the sewers, okay? Ronnie says, "What song is it?" They tell her the song. She decides it's time for them to go to the movie theaters, okay? They go to the movie theater, and the theater is closed. It's locked down, but her dad runs it. So she has a key, and she opens up, and they all go inside the movie theater together. So now we're a crew. We're at the movie theater. We're officially our crew. Our crew is Phil, Teddy, Lily, Susie, Ronnie. Yeah, it's 3 girls and 2 guys, but that's okay. Back in the day, it was only 1 girl and 6 boys. So it could be what it's going to be. But we got our nice little group, a group of losers. And they come together. They go to the movie theater, as I said. And the movie theater is deserted. No one's in there. So Ronnie decides she's going to show them the song that gets played. The kids, Lily, Teddy, Susie, and Phil, all go into the movie theater and they all sit in the seats. It's deserted. No one else is there but them. Ronnie goes in the back. She starts playing the film, and it's the movie that we saw in the beginning. The Music Man is playing. So it's the same part. The guy is giving his speech. He's talking to the people. Everyone's watching. It's just regular. And then things change. As they're watching the movie, they see Maddie. Maddie is in the field of people who are in this movie. Now, immediately, they start freaking out. All of them in the theater section. Ronnie is upstairs doing the film, so she's not in the theater with them. She's upstairs. She's making sure the film is good. Now, inside the theater, Phil, Teddy, Lily, Susie, they're all screaming for Maddie because they see him. So then when they scream out, "Maddie, Maddie," he actually turns and faces them. So now they're screaming more. They're like, "Maddie, come to us, come on, get up out of there." He starts, and mind you, he's in the movie. The movie is still going on. He starts coming towards the screen, and he's holding a baby. That's what it looks like. It's a baby. He's holding a baby. It's in the sheets. You can't really see the baby or anything like that, but you see he's holding something. So he walks up to the screen. He looks at them, and they're like, "Maddie, come on. We got you. We'll save you, bro. Just follow us. Follow our voices." And then Maddie goes, "No, you can't save me," basically. He tells Teddy and Phil, "You two were supposed to be there, and you were not there." Okay? Before the movie started, each of them felt bad about Maddie, by the way. Phil finally cried about it. Teddy cried about it. Lily cried about it. Each of them felt like they did something to Maddie, and that's why Maddie went missing. But now they're seeing him, and Maddie is calling Phil and Ted out. He's letting them know, "No, y'all were not good friends to me. Y'all were supposed to be there, and y'all were not there." They start freaking out. a lot, not a lot, but Maddie ends up smiling, and when he smiles, he opens the baby, and then the baby jumps out through the screen. Now the baby is the same baby from the beginning. The one with the head, the absorbed twin, the wings, and the smallness of it all. He flies out of the movie screen. So they all start freaking out. Teddy, Phil, Lily, and Susie. They are in there freaking out because that thing just came out the screen and now it's flying around all over the place. They're losing their minds. They're screaming. They're yelling. Next thing you know, the baby goes down into the front by the seats, and they're like, yo, what's going on? You know, movie stuff, so they ain't really moving. They just trying to figure out what's about to happen next. Next thing you know, this baby demon is now 6 to 7 feet tall, climbing over the seats to get them. So this part is like, oh my God, it's crazy. Because you're like, yo, what? Oh my God, y'all gotta get out the movie theater. What's happening? It's gonna get worse. So the kids start running. They start running for their lives. Immediately, as you see, Teddy is the first one. He gets snatched down into the ground. We don't see what happens with Teddy after that, but we know he gets snatched down to the ground. After that, the big monster comes, grabs Phil, pulls him up in the air, and rips him apart. Ripped Phil apart. We didn't see Teddy again after that. He ripped Phil apart and threw Phil's body up at the window where Ronnie was helping to push the movie. So Ronnie sees this from the room, but she doesn't know what's going on because she's still doing the movie thing. But she sees Phil's bloodied face all on the window now, and it's like, oh my God, Teddy and Phil are now dead. Like, they're not alive anymore. That's the crazy part. So it's like, yo, wait a minute. What just happened? This is crazy. Oh my God. Then you see Lily is on the floor. Lily's on the floor, and then she sees Susie, Phil's little sister. The two start crawling towards each other so that she can save her, and they grab, and then Lily grabs her arm. As Lily grabs her arm, the baby demon appears above them. Okay? The baby demon goes and rips it, and you just see it go biting down. Okay, as it bites down, you hear the screams, and then you hear the yelling. Ronnie, who got locked in the room when all of this started, the room that Ronnie was in locked. She couldn't get out, so the windows closed, the door locked, all that stuff. Finally, the door opened, so she ran out, and instead of leaving the movie theater, she runs into the theater to go find them and figure out what is going on. She goes in there and she sees Lily. Now, Lily is the only one left. She goes, she helps Lily up. Lily has blood all over her. She's freaking out, and she's like, come on, let's go. Then they hear the monster again. Lily and Ronnie end up running out. Ronnie locks the door for the theater, and then you see Ronnie go over to Lily, and she's like, what happened? And then it pans down to Lily's hand, and Lily is still holding Susie's hand that has been, the rest of her body is ripped off. It is just Susie's hand left. And then Lily screams for her life. And that is the first episode of Welcome to Derry. They gave us a whole crew that they knew was not going to make it, and made us feel for them and care about them and love them. Well, we didn't love them because it was episode 1, but care about them, only for them to be ripped up. I just knew Phil was going to be Bill, Teddy was going to be Stan. Like, I just knew it, only for it all to be wrong and be sitting there with egg on our face. Like, damn, they really got us. Episode 1. So come back here. We'll be doing more It reviews. Welcome to Derry reviews every week. We got another episode coming on Halloween, so let's look out for that. Prepare for a review, and y'all keep thriving and keep striving, because we always got this, and it's fun talking to y'all. So hopefully we get a little community from here, and we can just keep going. Peace.